soon, just today. Yes, you gon' learn, you gon' learn, you gon' learn. It was just past 1, 2, 3 man with a 4, 5 step to the door like, oh my gosh, just throw that cash in a back bag.
Hey guys, this is Vince from Irie Kitchen, and this is episode 6 of the Irie Lemon Podcast. Liz is still laughing. What's going on?
You crack me up. All right, episode 6. Before we get started, I have an event to tell everybody about. You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
October 19th, it's a Saturday. If you're in West Michigan, Grand Rapids, come to the listening room. It's in the new Studio Park downtown. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it.
Super cool. New, what would you call it? Development.
Venue.
Location
building,
downtown. Yeah. It's really more like an entertainment complex.
Yep.
Theaters, restaurants, tons of different retail shops, eateries, movie theater. Really cool new venue opening called The Listening Room, and they're going to be hosting really cool intimate music, musicians and things like that. Well, long story short, we're going to have a birthday party there first. Turn up. Me and my friend DJ AB, my friend Stacy, we have birthdays close together. We thought, let's throw a party, invite the whole city, and I hope you guys come. It's going to be a masquerade themed.
Ooh, guys, this is something you cannot miss. You have to understand, they're opening up the listening room with Liz's birthday party with one of the best DJs in the city. This is going to be huge. Masquerade party. Be there or be squared. Yeah. I work 100 hours a week, and I'm going to be there after work.
Hey-o. All right. So today, we have a really fun topic. Very fun. Do you know what letter we're at on the alphabet?
We're on the letter D.
We sure are. What does D stand for, Vince?
D is for Debbie Downers.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about dealing.
And other things.
Dealing with Debbie Downers.
I had to say it.
You were just like 5 years old. Jeez. Okay. You got yourself back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. He's back.
Back in close.
Okay, so dealing with Debbie Downers.
Negative people.
Yeah. We came up with this topic D was an easy letter for us to come up with a topic. Because we feel pretty strongly, and probably similarly about this. So
yes. Debbie Downers. Liz, give us a couple things. How would you describe a Debbie Downer, right? And like, how can people recognize a Debbie Downer in their circle?
Good. All right. So I would describe a Debbie Downer as somebody that, in general, regardless of what you're talking about, excited about, maybe sharing online, whatever you're communicating, they're going to respond back negatively. So whether that's, blatantly being negative, they might be talking behind your back, you might hear about it third party, like they might be fake to you and then talk badly. But in general, you just kind of get a vibe about them. So you're going to know, like, pretty quickly if someone's a Debbie Downer or not. And that's pretty much how I would describe it.
Yeah, I think I'll go off that too. I think anyone that's in your circle, your life, it could be a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend.
Yikes. That would be
cousin,
really tough.
Really
I was just thinking random people on the internet.
Or even random people on the internet. It's like anytime you bring something around them, anything you talk about something exciting and positive, they always result into a negative stance. You have to be careful now. Because a lot of people, I think, get constructive feedback and they take it as negative. And it's like not always this constructive feedback is negative.
And I think there's a difference between the two that we can pinpoint.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into. But a negative person is like you feel, how Liz will say, low energy after, or feel like you have to try your hardest to get them to be positive and optimistic all the time. Right? And there's some people who
Which is exhausting.
And there's people who are just not as high energy, and that's a different thing too to look out for. But if you just feel like they're always negative, that nothing's ever good that you do for them or anything they do themselves, you have to, and I urge it completely. Like, and I get if it's a spouse or like somebody in your life, like you have to take this advice lightly, but like somehow edit them out of your life.
So, okay.
For the most part. And
I
it
think
could just
that we
be
can
less...
break this down of how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a different way to go about it if we're talking about work colleagues, friend circle, and family, which a spouse would fall into family. Because to his point, you can't necessarily pick your family. Correct. So I think ultimately it comes down to setting boundaries, right? Yeah.
So like with coworkers and people I work with, if someone's super negative, a lot of times since I have more leverage in situations, I don't have to work with them. I don't have to do things with them. If it's something where I'm ready in a
So you're talking about how you'll determine who you work with based on how you feel when you're
exactly.
working,
So
right?
like a lot of people, I try to build a relationship before I do anything with them. A lot of people find that weird. Like I'm definitely like, and you probably notice
I'm
this
the
too,
same way. That's
right?
funny.
Like I just can't do business with you on a long-term basis if I don't have some sort of relationship with you. So like that's the way
I'm curious to hear about this because I'm the same way, and we probably never talked about it because we're the same way, so that's what happened with us.
Yeah.
But I've had that with other business partnerships, and similarly, I felt it was just like I now I know that about myself, so I don't apologize for it, but I realize that not everybody does that. So tell me, it's really interesting to hear that you're the same way. So
Yeah.
why is that important to you to be friends with someone before you work with them?
And there's different levels of friendship. I'm not saying you have to be best friends with like Liz and I and just talk all the time. But you have to have a relationship
taken.
so that when it's outside of business, because a lot of business is relationship.
Yeah.
So when it's outside of that, you have to be able to pull that person aside and have a conversation, whether it's disagreement, because like not everything you need to agree on, but it's just to be able to be like, okay, we both on two different sides of this. I should be able to feel like, and I want to be able to feel like I can have that conversation with you, saying like, yo, I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't agree with this, but because of our partnership, I'm going to go with it.
Smart.
Like that's part of it, and also positive decisions too. Like you want to be able to like enjoy it, and like especially when you're the operating or you're part of the business. Investment different, right? Like just don't lose my money, bro. But like if it's just like I'm actually going to be in the business with you, it's like okay, we got to have some type of foundation. Because the business does not matter to me.
So
like
if I'm
the business
understanding-
will make money. We're good at making money.
Right.
It will make money. Right?
So-
I'm not worried about the business. I'm more worried about if it makes money and I can't talk to you anymore.
Right.
Or if it doesn't make money, I can't talk to you anymore. Or you don't agree with the decision and I can't have a conversation with you anymore.
Plus, do you determine who you go into business with by whether or not you can have
a personal,
bit of a personal relationship
exactly.
with them also? Yeah.
And like you have to be kind of like my friend or I want to be around you because then that's when the best ideas are going to come. I can't come to your house and you can't come to my house and we can't jam off each other.
Right.
Like, well, then I don't want to be the operating part in the business, right? I might want to invest or I might just watch on the sidelines. It could be a great opportunity.
Right.
That's how I do like work relationships. And I get if you're a colleague or you work in an office somewhere, you're on a team, I would urge you to like either just lessen the time you're around them and talking with them. If it's your up and you have to talk to them, talk to their up about like, hey, they're not a bad person. We just don't gel personality wise. Can I get moved to a different department? Like just work your best to like figure that side out.
So I have a pro tip on that from back in
Mind you, I never had a job, so I don't really know.
Right. Well, I've had many jobs, and I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, and actually, one of the offices I worked in was a Marriott regional sales office in New England. And to your point, you cannot choose your coworkers all the time, right? One of the great things about being an entrepreneur is I can pick who I work with. Lucky for you, I picked you, Vince.
Thank you for picking me.
But you know, my husband goes to work; he can't pick his coworkers.
Exactly.
So you might be in a situation listening where you are not able to just cut ties, etc. So something that I did when I worked with Marriott was that we had an Enneagram workshop. It was a Myers-Briggs workshop, and essentially the sales team, we all took the Myers-Briggs test, and then we went over the results, and you figure out who you share things with, who you don't share things with. So I really think there's some value to learning about the people you work with so that you can understand where they're coming from. And I think a lot of times someone might come off a certain way, but once you get to know their motivations and what we call them, like their turn-ons and turn-offs, like what motivates them, what pumps them up, what doesn't pump them up. Once you learn that, you can work with them better. And I think that's a really helpful, hopefully you work in a company that does that from time to time. Maybe you can recommend it to the leadership team. But I really think that if you're going to be seeing someone sometimes more than you see your family, you need to take some time to get to know who they are, what motivates them every day, and what their goals are. What I keep saying turn-ons and turn-offs because those are the terms Marriott use. But you get what I'm saying, like what fuels them, what doesn't. And the more you understand them, the better you're going to be able to work with them on a daily basis.
Okay, so let's go to the next level. So we just covered right there about working, right? Whether you're working on a project with somebody or you're in a job with
Friends
right?
next.
Let's talk about friends. How do you handle the Debbie Downer or the negative person in your friend group?
So I think this is super important. I'm really passionate about...
and also talk about your struggles too.
Yeah, I will. So I'll start with the struggle because that's how I learned to cope with Debbie Downers. As you've probably noticed, I tend to run positive. might call me a positive Polly. So in general, people do tend to run higher or lower. And I also know about myself that I absorb the energy of people around me. So if someone tends to bring me down all the time, that's an indicator of setting those up. And in my experience, what happened for me as I was growing my business, I realized as I started to have successes and my business started to grow, I would get fun new, whether it was a cool trip or a cool opportunity. Some people took it well, other people didn't take it well. And that's really when I realized that there's going to be people out there that cheer me on and support my successes. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be Debbie Downers that don't cheer me on. Mm-hmm. And the first part of that is knowing that that's not about you, it's about them. And it's typically rooted in insecurity, mm-hmm. as well as jealousy and competition. Mm-hmm. And a pro tip to you, and we've all been there, if someone's doing something online that you're jealous of, that you're like, oh, I just wish I was doing that, or dang it, I was going to do that, she thought of it first. Mm-hmm. If something hits you a certain way, whether you're scrolling through Instagram, you're whatever, whether you could be on YouTube watching some cool video, mm-hmm. or whatever it is, that's usually a light bulb in your body of something that you want to be doing yourself. Mm-hmm. So instead of looking at it as something bad, use that as an opportunity to get more of an idea of what you want to be doing. Because mm-hmm. in general, those are the things that bug you are because you want to be doing them. Mm-hmm. So instead of looking at it as something, or like you always talk about, don't beat yourself up for feeling jealous or competitive or insecure. Yeah. Instead, take that and think, what could I do to reach my goal of that? Yeah. That's really cool.
Take that energy and let it take you to the next step.
Right.
100%. So now for me with friends, I take this super seriously. It took me a little bit to understand, especially.
Have you had experiences like
yeah,
this?
100%. A lot of them. So for me, it's you're someone like me and you're climbing up the ladder in a sense, right? There's new levels, there's new things you're trying to achieve, the things you're pushing the needle for. You have to edit your circle. And someone told me a few years ago that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
So true.
Right? So
think about that. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with?
And you're the average of them.
Yeah.
So if you're around lazy, negative people.
Debbie Downers.
Right? Debbie Downers. You're the average of a lazy, someone who's lazy.
Like if you meet up with friends and you're just talking, can we say the S word? If you're just talking crap about people.
Yeah, we can say S word.
Well, I don't know. All right. You know what I'm trying to say. But if you get together with people and that's what they do all the time. Yeah. Like I've had that situation where people ask me to hang out. I'm like, what is the point of getting together to talk negatively about other people? Else. Like what are you striving for?
Winners don't do that, by the way.
And guess what they're doing when you're not there?
Winners talk shit about themselves.
Right.
I'm trying to get better about me.
Right.
I spend time editing myself and my friends in a positive way. Hey, I see opportunity in this.
Have you had situations where you've noticed your 5 group wasn't the best?
Yeah. A lot of times.
Like your basketball team analogy you've made?
Oh, yeah, your basketball team analogy. There's people, right? The people on the team, people on the bench, right? So, for example, if someone, again, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, as you're climbing up this ladder, and Liz can attest to this, anyone successful can attest to this, you get to new levels, mm-hmm. right? Which means it seems like you're a group of friends, right? And I think the biggest issue in today's society is people are so worried of what they lose versus what they can gain. The focus is I don't want to lose this friend or this person in my life.
So you think that holds back their success?
Yeah, not recognizing what they can gain out of it, right?
My whole leaving the tribe analogy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you want to hold on to what you have so bad, right? Without recognize what you want is you only have 2 hands, right? So think about you're holding 2 bags, mm-hmm. right? You want this bag.
Oh yeah, you gotta let go.
You gotta let one bag go.
Yeah.
Right? You have to let one bag go to grab the next bag, right?
That's such a really good...
A lot of people are so scared to let go of this little bag to get the bigger bag.
You're so
right. And this could be figuratively for money, but also the success and love, whatever it is in that bag for you is the next thing.
Did you say love out loud?
I said it out loud on the podcast. Here you guys go. But I think a lot of people are scared of that too.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm trying to do is encourage you to let go of that bag, let go of that bad person, because for you to get to that next level,
you won't get to that next level unless you let go.
Exactly, and for you to see what you want out of your life, whether you're an entrepreneur, a mom, a husband, a friend, whatever you're trying to build yourself, you have to get that out.
Now,
right?
I think as well. Go ahead. Sorry.
And the amazing thing is that vacancy won't be vacant for too long.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we feel like we lose a friend, that's it.
You need to have faith that you're going to refill that.
When that positive person or that person you're looking for comes into your life, it's instantly a new level.
Yeah.
Elevated. You feel amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you have to be willing to go through short term.
Yeah.
You know what you say?
Oh, short-term resentment. What is it? You need to have temporary discomfort
for long
to
term.
avoid long-term resentment.
Exactly. Go through the discomfort.
The temporary.
The
discomfort.
temporary 3 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years. It's still temporary.
Yeah, it's much better than long-term resentment.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm very big at your friends because these are the people you bounce ideas off of. These people you spend time with when you're not working. These people you spend time when you're working. These people you always call to, talk to. You know, you have to make sure they're being positive. I'm not saying they live in la la land.
Yeah.
But a little bit in la la land. Like, especially an entrepreneur, you need people who are also on that la la land kind of mindset where
You do, because like we don't have.
It's hard.
There's no like cake in the break room to celebrate our successes this month.
Exactly.
Like there's no break room. There's no bosses. I don't get reviews. Like my husband will get these reviews and it's like 10 pages of how amazing he is.
Exactly.
Like
We don't,
paragraphs written.
Yeah.
Like we should give each other reviews.
I'm like, you're good. Though. All right, so back to the mission,
But
right?
that's the thing. You almost do need someone. You know, you can be a little greedy and want to have a few cheerleaders in your circle.
Yeah.
I think you really do, to your point.
And I think like this is not anything new information that we're giving people. I think we intuitively or heard about this before. What we're trying to do is give you the fire under you to make those decisions. Like to like say, okay, I don't feel good.
Right.
You not feeling good is like the worst.
And that's how you know is how you feel when you're around. Like when you
people.
get off the phone call with someone, when you get off a text message with someone, or when you leave time in person with someone, do you feel better or worse?
And
That's always like my black and white differentiator. How do you define it?
Yeah, same,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think, and also you should realize that as soon as you cut that negative person or persons out of your life, I guarantee you they don't care as much as you think.
No, they don't.
You think they care a lot.
No, they don't.
They really don't. And probably like them being negative towards you and things you're doing or in your friend group is they're kind of just mirroring what they feel inside,
And
right?
here's another thing that happens. It's a trickle effect because in general, negative people attract negative people.
Exactly.
So the people that I see online complaining the most, just the friends, you know, I know in the blogging community, there's tons of like gossipy girls. And I think every work environment has those groups of Debbie Downers, and they tend to all stick together. They tend to really gravitate.
It's a losing game.
It's a losing game.
We can like all that energy talking crap about other people.
They could be building a business.
Can be building a business, talking positive about things they're doing, and also in some sense being constructive with criticism on things they can be better at.
Yeah,
Like hence, why do you talk so much crap about everybody? Let's talk about that for a second.
Right.
Why do you care so much what this person is doing so much, and why does it affect you so much? Like these are all internal games that people are playing that they don't recognize affects their day to day, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody. I was like, "Yo, our biggest value is time, right? So like tomorrow isn't promised, right? Imagine the last conversation you had at night was talking crap about somebody else, and then you passed away.
Right.
That's not really a constructive
No.
time, like to spend your time. I think there's a Steve Jobs quote, or one of the Apple guys was talking about how, you know, you want to be doing what you're doing every single day, and love it, enjoy it, and make it be meaningful. Because if you died that day, you don't want to be spending your time. And I feel like that's such low hanging fruit, such negative or bad time spent. It's just like, wait, can we not talk crap about other people? Right? And also on the flip end too, for the winners, people who are positive, if you are negative, we are talking about you.
Yeah.
Like we're all gonna bring like, yo, do you think this person is negative? Like, so if you are maybe the negative person too,
true.
it's like, wait, pause for a second.
People are savvy.
Edit yourself.
People notice it.
We notice
You're not
it.
gonna you're not gonna trick anyone into thinking that you're positive or supportive. Everyone knows the people that are supportive.
You can't
And
hide
people
it.
all know the Debbie Downers, the negative Nancys. And I think as well, I know people often I've heard people even wondering, how did Liz get the success? How does she get all those brand deals? How does she this, that, and the other? And in general, if you're busy worrying about how I'm growing my business, then that means all that time and energy you're spending thinking about me, you're not thinking about growing your own business. So if you find yourself in the comparison trap, trying to figure out why any minute you spend worrying about someone else's business, someone else's successes, wondering how they got them,
Only slows you down.
every minute is a minute that you are not growing your business. So
And
if
then,
you're
like,
doing that, you are not growing your business.
You're not doing growing business and testing and trying. I always tell people business is 90% relationships.
100%.
If people don't like you, they probably won't work with you.
So I would love to hear what tips do you have for setting those boundaries?
So again, with me, like I have this kind of thing like miss me with that, and
I like that.
I start bobbing and weaving, right? Like If I start hearing someone being super negative or aggressive, like, and I'm an observer, so I'll watch.
So don't engage.
Right? So, like, a lot of times I don't fall for the trap.
Tip number 1, don't engage.
I don't fall for the setup. A lot of negative people will try to get you caught up in an argument.
Like, lure you into a convo.
And then, like, slam dunk you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, yeah, I was right. You were wrong. It's like, no. You created this whole game, and I'm not playing your game.
Yeah.
How about we play my game?
Yeah.
What's the reason why we spend 30 minutes doing that?
Right. I have another tip.
So create your boundaries. Like, observe. If you feel bad,
don't engage in it.
Create that line in the sand, right? And be like, hey, and you can even tell them, like, yo, like, to be honest, like, and like, you don't have to like this. I just feel like you're a negative person, and like that conversation, right? You're already being honest. It might take a lot of balls for you to do that.
I've never done that. I think I'm too scared.
Oh, I tell people, like, yo, dude, I don't like you, like, and like, it's just like not in a mean way. Not saying you have to, like, I don't even.
No, but you probably do it from a place of wanting to help them.
Yeah, I'm saying there's much better ways to, like, going about that, and I'm definitely a great one-on-one person. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I catch you by yourself, I won't publicly embarrass anybody. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, if they're always negative, I'll make jokes about it. It's like, it's funny, like,
humor is the truth.
Like, right, there's truth in jokes, right? Yeah. So, like, I always try to, like, if you're really negative all the time, I'm like, oh, bro, here comes negative, whatever. Right. You like being negative, like, and I'll call you on it, because I feel like shame in a way helps people change.
Interesting.
Shame will help you change.
I don't think it does, but that's another thing. Maybe S will be for shame.
Not always, but sometimes, like, encouraging somebody or, like, doesn't always register. Mm-hmm. But if you're gonna make me feel bad for being positive, I want to sometimes, and I'm like a respect is earned, respect is given, right? I want to throw that back on you.
Yeah.
And, like, this is how it feels like when you're shaming somebody who's being positive.
It's true.
So I'm gonna shame you for being negative, because, like, over here we don't want anyone as negative, and now you feel even bad because you were being negative.
Right.
So I hope that's gonna key and start a fire in you to start being positive. So that you can at least feel how I feel. Yeah. Me talking to you sometimes on the side, like, no, you can be like, you're not registering. You're like, oh, this person thinks, la la la. If I see how I feel or how the group feels because of your comments, and you feel the shame of it, like, you're not being effective here. You're
don't
not,
get him on your bad side.
Right? Don't get me on your bad side. Oh my God.
Wait, I have a tip if it's someone that's not in person. So I work in social media. So a lot of the people I
don't answer
on a daily. Well, listen. So
that's perfect. You degrees of separation. Go ahead.
Don't answer. That's one tip. True. So a few basic things that I've recommended to friends over the years. It seems so basic to me, but it ended up, like, changing their lives. So I just want to reiterate a few basically social media pro tips for avoiding Debbie Downers. So number 1, utilize the mute button. It is amazing because I don't necessarily want to hurt someone's feelings by, there might be a certain work partnership where I have to follow them for work things, whatever it might be. No one knows if you mute their stories. So mute those stories, control your feed, unfollow people. I love to unfollow people. Don't unsubscribe to their posts on Facebook. Really take initiative and be proactive about the content you consume every day. I always tell people, if seeing me work out every day makes you feel a type of way, mute me, unfollow me. I'm probably not the person for you. No offense taken. I would rather have a smaller number of engaged followers that enjoy the content and that are motivated by my life than something that I don't ever want to make someone feel badly. So unfollow and mute. I cannot reiterate that enough.
Listen, you're a loser if you comment bad things on people's stuff. Period.
Shame is apparently.
And you are. Think about it. Think about the time it takes to actually write a negative post on somebody's feed.
Well, I honestly think the Debbie Downer thing is more passive aggressive than that.
Well, some people are aggressive with it too.
Yeah, it's true.
Or even like the what's that word I'm looking for? It's not a real comment, but it's like, what do they call it? Is that passive aggressive?
What do you mean?
When someone, like, comments something positive but in a negative way.
That's passive aggressive.
Right? So, like, that whole energy.
They're being passively aggressive.
Okay, that whole energy is weird.
I know, I can't.
Like, why even don't even look at my stuff.
Right. Okay.
Period. Don't even look at my stuff, right? And, like, that's how I feel. Like, it's just like, why even? You're a loser. 100%. If I've done nothing to you, we're not competing. Yeah. I love it when we're competing.
Yeah.
Amp me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? If we're not competing and you have all these feelings and you're trying everything, like, bro, come on, bro. Like, you're a clown.
That's fine.
It's not even worth your time doing that. Right? Like, especially in social media, is like, well, just don't listen to it.
All right, let's talk about Debbie Downers in family.
Because this is hard.
This is a tough one, and you can't exactly choose your family.
This is hard.
So, I know. Should I start or do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay, so Debbie Downers, of course, are in all aspects of life. That's just, in general, you have to assume that, 10%, maybe more, 20%. There's going to be Debbie Downers. So, what I recommend you do, again, it all goes back to setting boundaries, is if you know that somebody is in general going to respond a certain way to whatever it might be. I keep going back to me. I'm the first female entrepreneur in my family. I'm one of the only working moms. You're sweet. See, in my family, it's like, you should be a stay-at-home mom. You shouldn't be working. So for me, it's a little bit weird. But I just have like a calling to work. I'm really driven. I do come from a long line of male entrepreneurs, and I feel like I got a lot of that DNA. So oftentimes the successes that I'm celebrating in my life are not viewed as successes to certain people in my family. Mm-hmm. And I had to come to terms with that. And, so again, that's just my example. Your example could look totally differently. Maybe you've lost a bunch of weight and your family, isn't as supportive of that, or they think you're spending too much time at the gym, or they start to worry that you're not eating enough, whatever it might look like. Have you ever had that with family where there's something that you're doing that they're not necessarily responding in a supportive way?
So I'm weird in the sense I've been really good about being in my own head. I mean, we were talking earlier, and I was like, "This is me a lot." Like, so
you don't really share.
People are listening. I'm putting my hands over my ears.
Right.
So I'm really good at and in a good way and also in a bad way. Mm-hmm. Right. I don't listen. So it's really hard for
See, that's nice.
And I
take that advice. Like, I really care what my mom thinks or what my sister, it's important to me.
And I get my parents and my family. Obviously, your family has more influence on you than anybody else. Mm-hmm. So even though I'm not listening, I can still hear you when my ears are. I can still hear what you're saying. That's how it's like when my family is talking to me.
So you hear it, but you're not necessarily listening.
Exactly. It's
so it doesn't dissuade or change your.
Well, sometimes it matters the relationship, and sometimes it can really affect you when you're not ready for it. If you don't have your earmuffs on at the time, and sometimes it just goes passively through. So I think you have to be now with mom, dad's, husband. That's different. You just. I feel like
you're gonna say you have to take the L.
You kind of gotta take the L a little bit. Yeah, you kind of gotta take the L because you can't really change your dad. But what you can do, right, is just I think the best way to fight that is continually being yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't argue about it. Don't have no conversations about it unless someone is really physically trying to stop you. If your dad, your husband, your wife is just literally trying to stop you from doing something, well then that conversation has to be made. But if they're not, if they're just talking, well, you keep showing up, you keep being the best you in your case, your family's amazing, right? They keep seeing you show up. After a while,
that's what happened.
You can't really say anything.
That's exactly what happened in my family.
After a while, there's nothing to be said. You didn't want me doing this. I did it. I'm happy. And your biggest thing is wanting me to be happy, correct?
Right.
That's why you're saying all these things.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy. And what I've learned is my way to happiness doesn't look the same as their way to happiness.
Doesn't look like anybody's way of happiness.
Right. And that's hard though in a tight-knit Middle Eastern family where
it's hard on every family that's tight-knit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you mentioned something that's very powerful too, the support, right? And so on the other end, there might be people whose families are not as supportive. Mm-hmm. In the case, they're just not as connected, not as strong. Even in those cases too,
they don't love each other. Just kidding.
Right? Don't always search for validation in people in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people don't make that business move or that weight loss change because they're looking for validation in their family members.
Or approval.
And they're not getting it. And it's wait a minute, it's okay if you're not getting it. Actually, it might even be easier.
Yeah.
Because now you can get to play a game, you versus you, right? And get what you want out of life.
You're doing it for the right reason, not
for the right reasons, not for so my dad can finally say he loves me, right? And I understand that people have those kind of things. It's that also is a very scary game. Because
I would have 5 more kids if I was just to please my mom.
Right?
But at the end of the day, I have to be true to what
do what's right for you
right,
always.
Exactly. All right, so let's go back to Debbie Downers.
Okay.
So tell me, what would be a strategy that you've used now that you've pinpointed the Debbie Downers, you've gotten rid of the Debbie Downers? What are some ways in which you live your life now to basically protect yourself and keep them out?
Well, you've been around me. I kind of create this atmosphere where you just can't be not good and not negative. Yeah. I just won't be around you. I'm somebody that's you know that disappearing meme with that black guy who kind of like, that's me. And I feel like you're negative. I'll just like be in and out, right? Like,
so have you had an experience like in the last, let's say, month or 2 months where you've maybe were about to enter into a business agreement, or maybe you met a new friend and then you really realize, like, how do you actually do the peace out meme in real life?
Literally, that's how that happens. That's me. I just started ghosting people.
So you just don't respond to texts?
I just ghost. I disappear on the face of the earth. Like, not in the last 2 months, probably in the last 2 years I've had things like that go on in my life. So if it's like a deeper friendship before that I'm now ending, I give it more leeway. Like I'm always talking like, hey, are we good? Right? And a lot of people don't have the balls to say no. Yeah. So I just keep asking, extending my hand out. Because like, I'm somebody who likes the ball in their court, you Jill on mine, and we have the conversation. It comes to a point where like, again, I'm somebody, if you push me to the point, I can pull the plug. I don't care. So after a while, I might just pull the plug. And I'm not saying that's the best way to handle that situation always, but for someone like me, it's like I cannot function around that. I cannot function around ulterior motives. I cannot function around negative mindsets. I cannot function around people who don't want the best for me. Right. Because then if I want the best for them. So I'm someone who's quick, right? Yeah. To pull the plug. And I don't care if we've been friends for 10 years. Right? Like, if I feel like you're not being beneficial to me in that sense, and I'm not being we should not be friends anymore. Or as much time together. Maybe you are still friends, but instead of seeing you every day or talking to you every day, I'm gonna talk to you less and less and less and less and less. Bye. Right? And it's like just so that I can continue to move forward, push the needle.
Something that happens to me, and this is actually in person. So this might happen with you as well, where maybe there's people that maybe like you get to know them through large friend groups, you end up running to each other at a party, or you see them at an event, or you see them at the grocery store, whatever it might be.
Short and quick, baby.
Yeah, and that's something that if you relate to me where you don't necessarily feel as comfortable like piecing out or being like on paper rude, I've learned that it's okay to be a little rude if it's a Debbie Downer that's making you feel badly. So for example, if I know of someone who is notoriously negative, Debbie Downer, if your whole relationship with them is your main commonality is like talking badly about somebody all the time, that's not a healthy way to form a partnership, right? Or a friendship. So I just learned to be more comfortable being a little bit rude. So I'll end the conversation. I won't text them back. I'll walk away from them at a party. Whatever it might do, I'm so protective of my energy because like we said, our three biggest assets are
your energy,
time, money, and your brain, your time, and your money. So your time is your energy. Exactly. So if someone's trying to meet up with me for coffee or wants to do something with me or wants to even talk with me online, and if I feel worse at the end of every time we talk, then I cut that out. Exactly. And it might seem rude, but you have to protect that.
You gotta protect your energy. Again, like levels, there's levels to this. Like that's what you're talking about is that, in my opinion, right? It is that, okay, at this certain level, I don't have 30 minutes a day to talk bad about somebody who's just trying. Right? Like you're like, this goes back to my basketball or football analogy, like people on the sidelines who think they can play better or do better than the person playing the game. Yeah. If you were that good, you'll be playing the game. Right. And when you're in the game, you realize
that's such you know what's crazy? I was going to give that example, but in a different way. Yeah. But that there's people that often, a lot of people will, in my world, what they'll chit-chat about is why someone else got an opportunity that they didn't. Yeah. Whether that was an invite to an exclusive event, an invite on a press trip to some cool city, or a contract with a really cool company. The people that don't get those things are going to be gossiping about why the other people got them and they didn't. Exactly. And what I just want to tell them is that if you're spending your time talking about why someone else got an opportunity that you didn't, and basically doing it in a negative way, let's be real, it's gossipy, it's dramatic, it's Debbie Downer. That's why you didn't get that opportunity. And like, don't they? I agree. How do people not put that together?
I think a lot of people don't realize that if you want something to work, you have to go all in. And talent is a factor. luck is a factor. All these
Right.
things, right? I believe that as you're working hard, you create your own luck, right? Like looks lucky, which is a lucky break, but you're working on it. And like to be honest,
you say looks?
you're right. Luck and looks. Hey, listen.
I thought it was like you're lucky if you look.
Listen,
good,
some
'cause
people who are
that'll
like,
help.
look at like in your world, influencer, you're a blogger.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
it's true.
beautiful women and dudes out here who have a lot of
Sure
followers,
helps on Instagram.
right? Because they got a lot of, they
Bikini
got
models.
good looks,
Yeah,
right? Now,
but looks only go so far.
exactly, you have to have guts. You have to have the back end, right? It has to make sense to actually turn it into a business.
Yeah.
So now, my part goes into this. Like, I always make jokes about this with like people on my team. Where like, yo, some people have it easier than others. It does not affect
Right.
where you're at today.
You were dealt the cards you're dealt.
It does not matter if that person has
Yeah.
it easier than you. The one thing that person is doing is going to work every single day, and they had it easier than you, which I laugh at. I'm like, so this person had it easier than you,
Right.
and is outworking you.
Right.
That's just like for me. If that was me, I'll feel really bad about myself. I'm like, you're complaining about this person, they're better, whatever, or not as good as you. They don't deserve it again, but they're showing up every single day, and you're not, right?
Yeah.
So like, what you're talking about, like about Debbie Downers and not putting, it's going all in. Like, you have to go all in and get better, be positive, and create your own luck. If you're not doing those actions every single day, you will not see the fruits of your labor.
So I have the secret to creating your own luck.
Go ahead.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, man.
The energy you put out is the energy you get back.
I believe that.
And what you put out into the world is what you get back in the world. I believe that so concretely. I have evidence of it my entire life.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you're having a bad day, what's the best way to get out of it? You fake it until you make it. You put your face on. I have to every morning. Like, I've got little kids. Like, I'm not going to show up, like, crying. So if I'm having a bad morning, like, I fake it for like 5 minutes, and before I know it, I'm feeling better again.
I can
Because
only imagine
actually, your
starting
brain
15.
responds. There is actually proof that if you fake smile, which sounds painful when you're in a bad mood, I wouldn't say I do it that, but apparently that does like change your attitude. But in general, energies or emotions are like waves that you ride them out. But even an overarching, if you find yourself not getting what you want in life, whether that's business success, relationship success, maybe you haven't reached weight loss goals, maybe you haven't reached whatever XYZ goal it is, look at what you're putting out into the world. When you log online, are you putting out positive or negative? When you talk to your friends on the phone, are you talking in the positive light, or are you complaining or being negative? When you look at your business, when you look and reflect on your profit and loss statement or your goals or whatever it might be, are you thinking positively about your business or negatively? Because how you think about every aspect of your life is a direct reflection of the results.
Exactly. I think also what you're leading to too, especially in business and in life, there's ups and downs, and it's like it's okay to feel bad.
Of course,
Like,
we all
it's-
feel bad,
Like whoever say and that's not marketed.
and that's not a day to call your Debbie Downer
Right.
friend, because that's just going to make it worse.
Make it worse. But like a lot of people don't market that. Like, it's okay to feel bad. It's
Yeah.
okay to like have a tough time. It's part of it. And I think what you're getting on is that like it's okay to feel that, but there are ways to make yourself feel better. And for me, it's just going into the future. A lot of times, all right, like today's bad.
So
Tomorrow,
talk about that.
Tomorrow will be better. Like, I'm someone like me. Like, either I can like, it's funny because I can feel a thought or like a bad feeling coming in, and a lot of times I can sidestep it and be okay.
The whole bob and weave thing.
Right, bob and weave, right? Sometimes I can't, and it will consume me. But like, give me my like 15 minutes. It's probably more like an hour to be honest. But like in my brain, it's like 15 minutes. Like, let me be mad or sad for 15, and I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I just have to feel it though. I have to go through the emotion. I have to take.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting,
I know you're not.
I love going through the emotions.
Yeah, Liz goes through the emotion, guys. She's not suggesting that she doesn't go through the emotions.
That's
at
why
all.
I wish I skipped the emotions.
You don't see it,
But
right?
I'm not suggesting that.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think it's good to feel it and go through it. But again, remind
You have
yourself.
to feel it, but this is more of like this is almost like, it's like different than that. The Debbie Downers.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is that could also make you be a Debbie Downer in a moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So
that's probably not the time to like check in with all your friends.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to right now. Is like when you're feeling those emotions, make sure that like you're not gonna bring someone else's day down because you're feeling like this. A lot of people like to bring people down to their level so they feel better.
Interesting.
So I'm saying like you get these feelings or negativity or
Yeah, that's true.
protect your energy, but also protect your friend's energy, which leads to my bigger theory. So I'm gonna go back to the 5 people thing.
Okay.
So I think I've told you this before, and guys in the podcast stick with me. You're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, right? I believe, and I've told you this before, is that like humans are connected. We all know that. Because there's never been a time you walk by somebody ever in life and not felt something.
Right.
Whether it's heat, whether it's like a weird vibe, whether it's like love, or whether it's warmth, whatever it is, you felt something. So I truly, and this is a really selfless way to look at your energy and how to protect it, and also how it affects everybody else. So I believe that we have 5 people, but those 5 people have 5 people, and those people have 5 people. Right? You guys get the point. So we're all connected. Especially in your inner circles, you can, if you really take a look, you can really see the effectiveness, right? If you're being negative, or you're affected by someone who's being negative, right? It not only just affects you, it affects everyone in your 5. And then their 5.
Real quick.
And then their 5. And then their 5.
Yeah.
I believe it's very selfish, right? And here goes with my shame tactics. It becomes very selfish of you to allow another person to make you become negative, or you being negative and influencing someone else to be negative. Because it's not just that person that's being effective or affected. Right there in the moment, you just see, oh, that person is feeling bad.
Yeah.
Or I'm feeling bad. But what it does is a train reaction.
Yeah.
And then you affect and you're slowing everybody else in your 5, and then their 5, and then their 5. And you're around people who are positive and who are supportive, right? And that's the culture you develop in your world. And obviously you can't be friends with a billion people, but you can be friends with a lot of other people. And you get that positive change and that positive effectiveness, you start seeing leaps and bounds in not only your life, but everybody's life.
It's a ripple effect.
And I always tell people, like, the reason why you're not in my circle is because you're going to not only affect me, you're going to affect Parker, you're going to affect Liz, you're going to affect Sam, you're going to affect Bert, you're going to affect my dad, you're going to affect my mom, you're going to affect my sister, you're going to affect my cousin, and I can't afford that.
Right.
Life is too short. I cannot afford that. And, like, you have to take kind of that stance on yourself and also take that stance with other people. And that's kind of my viewpoint on the 5 thing. I think it's much bigger than just a little circle. I think it's everybody's connected. And if we start pushing that forward, that mindset forward, we can start seeing leaps and bounds of positivity in a better world. But a lot of people just stop, right? The fact of we still do wars, right? We don't have to get into that, but like that's all.
That's a relief,
right?
That'd be a big
but like for example, that's all about someone influencing somebody over something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true.
A lot of times you don't even know what you're fighting for. A lot of times, how many you're in arguments.
There's also nothing worse as someone that, we're all humans and we've had interactions with Debbie Downers, and sometimes it's easier to cut those ties than not.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than knowing that, now I have to burden my husband with this again.
Exactly.
Or, I'm meeting with my friend and she's going to ask about it and now I have to tell her about it. Like, it's almost like embarrassing.
Yeah, it's not fair to them.
Right. So I would just say, like, give
it's
yourself some grace, but also try to remember that it isn't just impacting you.
It's impacting everybody else.
And use that fuel and that energy to put those boundaries and those protective walls up. And also know, is my lawn about to get mowed? We should shut that door.
We're almost at 40.
Okay. Well, I just think use that as fuel to protect yourself and be strong with the boundaries you set and don't feel badly about it. Because at the end of the day, you're doing it not just to protect you are protecting. I mean, for me, it's protecting my kids.
Yeah.
I can't be crying in front of them or upset in front of them.
Yeah. I agree. And I think, so to kind of like wrap up a little bit is if you're a Debbie Downer yourself, realize that that mindset and what you're doing is affecting so much more people, not only just yourself. Also, you don't feel good.
Yeah.
No one can ever tell me that being negative makes them feel amazing.
No.
Like, life is too short to feel bad.
That's why the Debbie Downers are never where they want to be in life.
Exactly.
Because they're was that self-perpetuating?
Yeah, like you're just, whatever, self-fulfilling your own negative prophecy. And I don't think that's worth anybody's time. Definitely not yours. If you're being also affected by somebody who is being negative, if it's a family member, well, you just got to kind of not hear it. Less time spent. Don't even talk about dreams and goals around them, right?
Yeah.
Like you just kind of.
Yeah, I would say change and limit what you talk to them about.
Exactly.
Talk about things that you know that they're gonna.
And if you're like a Liz or me, that'll probably fuel you to even prove the point even more. If you're that person, use it as fuel, not as a distraction. If it's friends, cut it. That's way too high. You gotta cut it, right? Like you gotta find a way to like cut that out and like just have that conversation, limit time, go to the next level, make new friends. Spend like if you're like a Liz who can't have that conversation really or don't really want to have the conversation just because like it's not who you are, just make more friends. So then you don't have time to spend with that person too. I think that's another cool hack, right? Oh, let's make 5 more friends that are really positive. Like, I can't hang out with you 5 anymore. Right. It's kind of like, oh, I'm just too busy. Right? New friends, right? You got to find ways.
That's actually
You're really good, right? I just thought about that. That's actually a better way, which I might start implementing in my life. But
I think I naturally do that.
Yeah,
too.
I think you do. Just find better friends.
That's so funny.
Colleagues and people you work with. If it's not in your control, again, talk to an up or boss if you can move, or just kind of protect your energy and try to keep showing up every day being you. That might spark something in there.
Take some time to get to know the people. So in the work environment or family environment as well, sometimes just taking a minute to try to learn about their personalities or what their differences are is going to help you also realize that you might have also been misinterpreting certain things that weren't as negative as you thought. Because you obviously can't cut everything out.
Yeah. And then one more thing too. If you leave negative comments or on people's Instagrams or Twitters or Facebook, you are a loser. Period. Especially when you don't know, right? And you've had some of this recently. Especially when you don't know the other side. Right? If you don't know the other side, you can have an opinion, yes. I'm not saying you cannot have an opinion, but if you don't know the other side, why comment? I don't get it. Right? Right, you're completely on the other side of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you posted things that are meant to be good and people take it bad and like, no. Don't miss the point. The point was good. And you're over here making something that's not real. So again, if you don't know the other side of it or you don't have full context, please don't comment and please don't leave a negative comment.
Let's assume the Irie Lemon podcast crew is not. No one listening to this podcast would ever do that, right?
No, but like, and even if you did, like, we understand. We're not saying that you can't leave a bad comment.
No,
but
it's true.
But it's more about like,
there's a real human being behind everything, behind every Instagram post, behind every blog post,
behind everything, behind
every
business.
I get blog post comments.
I guess it behind everything. There's a person behind it who's poured their heart out on something, and for you to tear it down because you're not having a good day doesn't seem like a really good way to spend your time, bud.
And if you're getting those, if you're listening and you get those comments, remember it's about them, not you. I'm like telling that to myself.
Protect your energy.
I like it. All right, so ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for all of the amazing comments. We've gotten so many really great, really, really sweet comments, DMs of people listening and tuning in. I mean, I can't believe that people listen. So that's really cool.
Thank you guys so much.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, we would love a 5-star review on iTunes. That would really help us get the word out. And
tell your best friend, your cousin. Send this to your negative friend.
Yeah.
Yes, please. If your friend is the negative one,
let's all send this to a Debbie Downer.
Send this to a Debbie Downer and be like, yo, you need to listen to this.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
And last but not least, if you are listening, we would love it if you tagged us on Instagram. We've had a lot of people do that. And it's really cool for us to see. Oftentimes they'll like recap a quote they liked. So keep doing that. It's really great for us to know what you're liking so that we can always make these better.
Yeah, and if I think also to add this, if you're a brand or somebody who's might want to come on our podcast, please reach out to us too on the DM or reach out to Liz on email or me on email, and we'll love to have, or at least start the conversation.
Yeah.
So
we love having guests on, and I think that it's fun to basically let people hear from other perspectives outside of just us, especially people like we had Stonyfield on recently.
Yeah.
That episode will be coming up. I think it's really important to have different people with different backgrounds, different experiences, so we're really open to all sorts of guests.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.